Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to do a board game spotlight review for HerStory. HerStory is produced by Underdog Games. It's designed by Nick Bentley, Danielle Reynolds, and Emerson Matsuuchi. I'm going to just explain a little bit about how to play the game and give you a brief overview and review for HerStory. So here you can see kind of the layout, the game setup of the game HerStory. You've got the neoprene mat here, and you've got this river of cards and a stack of cards to replace them with. You've got these little tokens that represent the different resources, and there's extras in this bag. Each player is going to have a library card, a player aid, and their own player board, and then other players will have their player boards as well. So let me just go ahead and put this one off to the side, and we'll just demonstrate with one here. So on the play of the game, you've got a nice little player aid here that explains the steps. One option is to take a research token after optionally using a library card. So I could just take one of these research tokens, and let's say I took this one, and I could put it there. And then anytime one is taken, you immediately take one from the bag and replace it. And that would be your turn. You just get one action per turn. Now the library card allows you to flip this card. It says flip to clear and refresh all research tokens. So if you really needed something that wasn't out here, you could just get rid of all of those and put a whole new set out and then take your choice. And then if you flip it, that means you've used that action. But then future in the game says discard to clear and refresh all research tokens. So then you can just get rid of your library card and then get a second chance to refresh them all. So that keeps these tokens kind of moving and changing out a little bit more. So you can use the library card and then take a token, or you can just take a token and put it in your collection. Then another option is to put a chapter card into your draft area and score 2 points. So let's say that I was really hoping to complete this person's card, Shakuntala Devi. And as soon as I draft it and put it in here, I'm going to get 2 points. And so I would, as the pink player, move that up to 2 points. So that's what the drafting option would be here as a second choice of an action. So you just, again, get one action per turn. The third option is you can discard research tokens that you've accumulated to complete a chapter. Score the chapter's points and possibly 3 extra points if you exactly get the resources that you need. And then you're going to add that to your book. And it also notes here that cards have powers, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. The game ends when someone has completed all 8 chapters. We finish that round and then score up the points. The person with the most points wins. So if I took that and put it into my draft, this would go out so that other players then could choose from that. Now let's look at some of these card powers to understand what some of them are. Some of them are end of game, some of them are during game. And so this one says when writing a chapter costing 7 or 8 symbols, you get 2 points. And so this one over here has 8. So if I already had put Frida Kahlo into my book, for every future one in the later parts of the game, if I take one of these and also add it to my book that has 7 or 8 symbols on it, I'm going to earn an additional 2 points beyond what the points are at the top corner here. This one says before researching, you may discard a research token from the center. So I could just take one that I don't like, throw it out, draw a new one. Hopefully it's exactly what I'm looking for. Mary Lyon says at game's end, 1 point for every 2 lights in your book. So at the end, you're going to have all these different cards lined up here. And the symbols on the bottom, you'd be looking to see, do you have 2 light bulbs, and every time for every set of 2, you're going to get a point. This one is 1 point at the end for every 2 thought bubbles at the end of the game that are in your book. And then for Fannie Lou Hamer, at game's end, 8 points if you have no tokens left. So if you actually can get rid of all of them as you're putting the chapters from your draft into your book, then you're going to score those 8 bonus points. And a couple other things about the options on the game. This one you can see just has a thought bubble. So if I were to eventually collect all of these symbols and pay those symbols, and when you pay them, you just take them off your board and discard them. Then you actually put it into your chapter. Let me slide this up so you can see what that looks like now. So now she is a chapter in my book, and let's say that I now want to draft another character, and let's say that I've collected this one. Let's see, just someone that I can get easily here, and this one. Let's not do that one. Let's do this one. All right. So let's say that I wanted to draft Julia Child. And again, anytime that a token gets taken, you just replace them. Now I can draft Julia Child and put her here to get the 2 points. Or if I want to try to save a turn, because sometimes you want those points, but sometimes you're trying to hurry through the turns if someone else has more chapters in their book and you're trying to catch up. you could actually just purchase it straight from there into your book. And so if I wanted to do that, Julia Child, I need 2 thought bubbles, I need 2 light bulbs, and I need 2 books. Well, I've got 2 books, I've got 3 light bulbs actually. I've only got 1 thought bubble here, but I've got this other one there which counts. And I don't discard this, it's just a permanent one once I put her. So it's a little bit like Splendor that way. So I would just discard these 3 and take Julia Child and put her into my book. And then now you can see I'm still going to have that thought bubble to use for the rest of the game as a permanent one, but I'm also going to earn at the game's end 1 point for every 2 thought bubbles in my book. And so now I've got 2 right here and none on that one. So, but I'll probably want to start taking characters that have thought bubbles as the resources that you need to earn them. And so you can draft, or you can put a chapter in your book from your drafts or directly from the board if you want to skip that step. But by skipping that step, you're maximizing your turn in terms of time, but you're also losing the 2 points by putting it into the draft. So you have to decide at any given point in the game what's more important to you. So that's a brief overview of how the game plays. In terms of my impressions, I love the theme of the game, having daughters and granddaughters. I love teaching them about women of history who have made a big difference in humanity through science, through arts, through all kinds of avenues of our lives. And some of them are more recent in history, some of them are ancient history, and all throughout the different eras. It's really interesting to see some of these people that are long gone and others who are still alive, and we can read their stories on the back, and it talks a little bit about their story, it talks about their lifespan, what they did, and a little did you know. So for instance, did you know during World War II, Julia worked as a spy for the Office of Strategic Services, which became the basis for the CIA. So really interesting things. You might know these people and you might not know some of the things about them. And you can go as much or as little into the history as you want. You can read every card every time you draft one, every time you put one into your book, however you choose to do it. At the end of the game, the rule book says that once you finish the game, whether you have, someone will have had 8 chapters, but when you finish it, the winning player is going to take their 8-chapter book and they'll put their player turn card this way, and that's the book cover, and then they're going to choose one character and read that person's chapter. So it's just a really cool way to introduce some history. And like I said, if you're playing and you just want to play for the game itself and you're not really worried about reading through the history, you can do that. But I know when I play with my daughters and granddaughters over Christmas break, I'm sure we'll be talking about the history of who these women are and what they did and what they accomplished and how it impacted humanity. So really excited for that theme. I also really like that it's very simple. So even though my oldest 2 granddaughters are 7, it's going to be probably tricky for them to understand every aspect of this game. But I think they can get the idea of, I need those pieces, and they may want to pick a certain person, and they might not be highly strategic in the way they play. But I think with a little guidance from some of the adults, they'll be able to figure it out, and I think they'll just enjoy it. And any middle schooler or up is easily going to be able to understand this game. It says ages 8 and up, and so I think even upper elementary can easily figure this one out. And like I said, our granddaughters are right on the cusp of that. So they might surprise me. They might understand it and really get the strategy even more than I think they will. But it's a simple enough game to teach that, you can learn it quickly. People can jump right in, even if they haven't played a lot of games before, or even if they're younger. And it's got a nice combination of things. So if you love playing games and you've played a lot of games, you still have to be thinking strategically about, do I draft first? Do I take it right from the river? Which of these do I want to get? Can I actually combine these just perfectly so that when I'm ready to take, for instance, if I have Frida Kahlo in my drafts, can I get exactly 2 books, exactly 3 light bulbs, and exactly 3 thought bubbles? Because then I'm going to get a 3-point bonus. I'll get this 8 points plus another 3 if I can exactly discard tiles that have the perfect match. And so there's just a lot of little things to think about. You can also, if you're highly strategic, kind of see what other people might be looking for in terms of the cards they have in their drafts, and you can try to take tiles that they might want to slow them down. It's a little bit hate drafting, but that's a possibility. So if you're a gamer with a lot of experience, you can really take this to some different levels and start to really game the game. And I did play a couple times with just my wife, and I don't think it plays quite as well at 2 players. The library card does help, and with 2 players, we both used our library card both times to just try to clear out those tiles to get what we really needed. At 3 players, it was better. At 4 players, it was even better. And so I think, and you can play it up to 5. I think with more people, you're going to get things moving and flowing and more characters and more tiles. It does also mean, though, you might have your eye on a tile or your eye on a card, and someone else is going to take it before it comes back around to your turn. So there's give and take to that, but I did find that two-player wasn't for us the maximal player count. So really looking forward to playing this one over Christmas. I like that Splendor connection of trying to get some of these symbols. You know, if I can get, for instance, Beulah Louise Henry in here with my first card down here, I'm going to have a permanent thought bubble and a permanent book, and so it's going to make it a little bit easier, kind of like in Splendor, how you're building up that engine. So there's lots of things that I think make this game interesting, both thematically and mechanically. And so I really enjoy this game and look forward to getting a lot of plays through the years with this one, both with family and with friends. So hopefully you enjoyed this quick review and overview of how you play the game. If you did, I would love it if you'd give it a thumbs up. And if you don't mind, I'd really appreciate it if you'd also choose to subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy, Indiana, signing off.